Yo, welcome back, YouTube. We're going to get into our second episode, first review of our very first e-boards, the YECOO GT 2-in-1.
Oh yeah. YECOO is a fairly new company. There's not a lot of information about the company, so we're here to kind of give you guys, if you're thinking about buying a board or budget board, YECOO can be a good option for you. We're going to lay out the pros and cons, go in depth, show you guys all you guys need to know. That was a fucking solid intro right there, just fucking ruined. Sorry. Jesus Christ.
So basically, we decided to go with the YECOO because it's a budget-friendly board. We weren't really sure about the facts behind that information, so we decided, what the hell, give it a shot, test it out, push it to the max, give everybody a solid review in the process. A little bit about the YECOO. It's a budget board from China. What information is out there is real thin, and we decided to go with it.
It's a little risk we took, but you know,
we decided anyway. What the heck? And we gave it a shot, and we're here to show you what we found out. Are you supposed to say that?
I just asked if you want to say that.
We went with the YECOO e-board primarily because of the price point, and I'm not gonna lie, we were a little bit skeptical in the beginning because
it sounded a little too good to be true.
Exactly. It sounded too good to be true. The price point was a little low, and it's appealing, but then again, you have reliability issues. So we're here to review this board and tell you our honest opinion after the purchase. So we purchased this board, and we have the intention of giving you guys, our e-board community, an honest and unbiased review. Alright, YouTube, let's get into it. We're looking at the YECOO website right here. And remember, this is a Chinese website and a Chinese DIY electric skateboard.
Alright, moving on. These are all the boards they offer right here. Well, this is the one we went with, the YECOO GT 2-in-1.
Yep, that's our board. To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of the grip tape. And
some angles in, know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's look at them angles.
Got them airless tires right there.
I'm a huge fan of the airless tires, I really am. Although I'm not a huge fan of the wheels, I like the airless tires. Let's look at that right there. Yeah, those are forward under-mounted motor mounts, and I'm not a huge fan of that,
especially for like all-terrain scenarios.
It picks up a lot of rocks and dirt, and it all gets jammed in there.
See that little crevice right there? Sometimes rocks get jammed in between there, can start scratching up your motors.
We've actually landed on a few rocks with that mount right there.
Yeah, obviously have the black and orange options. Joe over here went with the black, I got the orange. We both got the 11 amp batteries, but they do offer the 15 amps, which do offer more range. They have the 30Q batteries in those.
Yeah.
These ones are a little bit weaker, but still good.
In retrospect, we should have spent the extra money and got the 15 amp batteries.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure. I recommend it.
The price does jump up $200 from 11 amp to 15 amp, but that's for you guys to decide.
Let's go back up to the next, Joe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What are we looking at?
Right here, image 4.
Alright.
So, as you can see here, the deck doesn't have a lot of curve to it, and although it is a pretty strong deck for the load that you put on it, and I weigh 225 actually, and it holds up pretty solid. Like, it doesn't have a lot of flex, not at all.
So basically, looks like they advertise they go up to 25 miles on one battery charge, but from our experience, that wasn't the case.
More like 8. And the last 4 is probably really...
No, I think it's a little bit more than 8, because I can go there and back in one charge and still have a little bit left over. So maybe like 9 or 10.
Obviously, since I've got like 70 pounds on this guy, I was not able to travel as far.
Alright, yeah, that's fair, that's fair.
It's facts.
Also, their speed, they say they go up to 25 miles an hour. Now, we got the 11 amp battery, but it could be different for the 15 amp battery.
We don't know that.
Yeah, but for us with the 11 amp hour battery, we go around. He clocked in at 23 miles an hour.
23.9 miles an hour.
So
during a speed test. It has 3 ride modes. To be honest, we didn't really mess around with beginner or middle.
I got no time for that.
We went straight hard.
We ain't got time for that.
We went straight hard, and I fell a few times. It's been fun.
That's basically what happened here. Wheels, they do come with 2 sets. One is the off-road or all-terrain, which is the 6-inch airless tires. It's pretty soft, but not as soft as obviously the pneumatic tires. But the benefits of this is you never get flats or anything like that. So
and
pretty cool.
If you're not a huge fan of the color schemes, we'll drop a link below to the website where you can actually purchase multiple color wheels for this exact wheel type and rim.
The deck, we got 8 layers of Canadian maple plus baking paint.
Basically, Canadian maple does not have a whole lot of flex.
Yeah, it has a little bit of flex, but not a lot.
Braking. Not gonna lie, it's got smooth brakes. Full speed to a stop, very smooth.
We didn't really test the distance of the remote, but we didn't have any connectivity issues or anything like that. So that's pretty solid.
Yep, that's true.
We apparently have the upgraded version of the YECOO GT. Before they used to have 8.8 amp hours, but now by default you have 11 amp hours or upgraded to 15 amp hours.
Correct.
So here's kind of like the spec sheet of that. If you get the 11 amp hours, this is kind of the battery you get right here. And probably most of you guys know this famous Samsung 30Q.
Yeah.
That's the one you get with 15 amp hours.
Watt hour capacity, 540 watt hours.
This is the difference between the watt hours.
It's a big difference. Rather large difference, yeah. Oh, those are the color options for the wheels.
They don't offer these colors on the website, but
we'll drop the link below.
Yeah.
The N5055 motor was upgraded from the YECOO GT to the board we have, which has the N5065 high-speed motors. I have no complaints with the motors.
I think it's a little bit on the weaker side, but then again, it is a budget board. But for the price, I think.
I mean, talking in terms of KV, it's got no problem reaching what it's advertised.
Trucks, little. I would like them a little bit wider, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with them.
What is it, a 9.5 inch truck?
Yeah, it handles pretty well. When I first got it, I thought it was a little loose, so I had to tighten it up a little bit. But Joe found it fine.
Yeah,
so.
I was completely fine with this.
Personal
stability,
preference. Yeah.
max speed, very little speed wobble, little to none, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And we already went over these.
No. Go back to the deck.
The handle is convenient. It is.
But a huge convenient factor.
It does come with some downsides
in terms of weak points on the board.
We'll go over that when we go in depth, show you guys the board, our boards, and we'll go over all that stuff, don't worry. We've given you guys the facts. We've had these boards for about 2 months, put them to the test. Now we're going to share with you guys what we've found.
board. I have a little mods, but don't worry about that. So basically, one of the first things we found was an issue with the battery. Joe had a battery issue, so basically every time we went to work, his board would die. Battery cuts off every now and then. It's very unpredictable. So let's talk about the bottom side of the board. As you can see, there's a lot of scratches and little nicks on the bottom. For the most part, it's pretty durable. It's hard plastic. As you can see, the battery enclosure is held up with 6 screws, 3 on top, 3 on bottom. There's 2 vents right here. It's supposed to be water resistant, but from our experience, water does get in there, and we did have issues with water where it got into the enclosures and we had to clean it out to prevent further damage. Also, we have here on the bottom is the charging port right here. Moving on to the ESC right here, it's held up by 4 screws, 2 right here and another 2 right there. You do have one giant vent right here, and right underneath it is the heatsink, but water does go in there, and we found that to be a big issue as well, because for us, water did get in here and it prevented me from turning off my board. So I had to literally rip everything out and unplug it from the battery. Right here is the indicator, your battery indicator. As we said before, this has 4 levels, whereas the remote only had 3. It can be a little confusing when it comes to that. Also, here's the power on off button right here, and it also has a seal going around the enclosure to help with water resistance, but water does still get in there. Also, on the front of the ESC enclosure seems to be a port or a hole made for a USB port, but unfortunately it is not functional, glued closed. If you really wanted to, you can drill this out and kind of make your own port. As the board comes, this is not functional. This is the truck and motor assembly right here. As you can see, there's a lot of nicks and damages due to our environment that we're kind of in right now, and a lot of rocks like to hit the front of it or in the back. It really damages that. And also you have the motors that are front mounted, which can be a hassle as well, because rocks as well hit the motors, hit the housing. You could even dent it, pushing it into the motors, really binding it up. As you can see, there's scratches all along the motors right here. There is a pretty large wheel pulley right here, which causes it to kind of hang closer to the ground, which in the end gets nicked by rocks. As you can see up close right here, you can see a bunch of nicks on the pulley. The belts have a whole bunch of gashes on it due to rocks hitting it. The other Joe had a belt break on him already because of all these gashes. Some pros are the wire management they've added here. They did add a little bracket here that mounts to the actual truck, which basically holds the wires in, preventing them from actually rubbing on the motors or getting in the way. Although the trucks and the motors have taken a beating, it seems to be holding up, so it is pretty durable. It is not just flimsy where it'll just fall apart. One rock hits it. Another pro is a part of the truck is the motor mount, which is actually integrated into the truck, which makes it very durable and strong. So as you can see, here are the airless tires right here. They are pretty soft. As you can see, they do squish down when I add a little bit of pressure. The treads aren't as deep as I'd like. They do advertise that it is off-road terrain. Like I said, the treads aren't too deep. It does handle small rocks and dirt pretty well, but nothing too crazy. I would have liked to see a stronger rim. As you can see, a rock hit the rim and already a chip occurred. This is the street tire that comes with the YECOO GT 2-in-1. As you can see, the size difference between the all-terrain tires and the street tires. All-terrain is about 6 inches, whereas the street tires are about 3 inches. These are the front tires right here. And one way to tell is it got its bearing on both sides, whereas the ones in the back, you get a little adapter, a gear adapter for it. It just snaps right onto the back right here, and it just pops in real easy, just boom, like that, and it's in. Here you have the 250 5M belts that come with the package. That's due to the smaller diameter of the pulley on the street wheels, whereas it comes with the 350 5M belts with all-terrain tires.
As demonstrated by Joe, we have put this board, specifically the deck, to the test with a few 180s, monster jump. As you can see here, as we covered earlier, the handhold is a nice feature. It makes it great and easily accessible to lift and carry through pretty much any situation. Although, it does arise some issues with structural integrity. Here on the inside of the handhold, there are some microscopic cracking, a few larger cracks running forward and running backwards. This one runs all the way inside the ESC housing and starts protruding just back here behind the ESC. So that's roughly about a 9-inch crack. Moving forward, there are some cracks here around the battery enclosure hardware. A few larger cracks running from your forward trucks. To me, that seems like a rather large structural integrity issue. The last thing you want is for your forward trucks to snap off.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? You guys liking the fresh fits? Fresh work fits? Yeah. Got them coveralls in, know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Company's putting up. Alright, so getting back to the issue at hand here, a little Q&A. Let's talk about a little bit about the battery. So maybe 5 to 6 times over the past month or so, my board is cut out on the way to work and sometimes on the way home from work, which is only a 4-mile ride. Sometimes at a mile, sometimes at 3 miles. The company, after getting a hold of them, had great customer service, and they offered to send out a new battery, a 15 amp battery, the upgraded version, Samsung 30Q, free of charge, and that's in the post right now.
Another thing is, when it cut out, it wouldn't turn back on until you actually plug in the charger. And say if you're in the middle of your ride, in the middle of nowhere, it's kind of a hassle, because then now you gotta ride back or carry it. And
a few times he carried my board back while I walked the other 2 miles.
Yeah.
So, slight inconvenience.
pretty big inconvenience.
Pretty big. Hopefully that's an issue that YECOO is going to address in the future.
Yep.
And in addition to that, let's talk a little bit about deck durability. Deck durability.
Yeah. So around the handle, you saw that there was a lot of cracking. The handle is a weak point, but it's kind of a trade-off for the convenience of it. I'd like to see, maybe a couple layers added onto it to strengthen it up. But
Or maybe mix in some bamboo ply. Ply for a little bit of flex. Just a little bit.
If you plan on doing tricks on this board, I would highly not recommend it. I don't think this board's
definitely not recommended.
Yeah, more of a carving board.
In terms of quality, I give it the whole board itself, I'll give it an 8.5 in terms of quality. So if you're thinking about bang for your buck, it's actually not a bad deal. You just got to keep in mind not to do any jumps, tricks, and maybe weatherproof your board before you plan on doing any water riding.
I agree.
In terms of the remote durability, I would just completely do away with the current housing.
Yes.
The functions on the remote itself work great.
Housing, very flimsy, very plasticky.
Correct.
Looks like it's already coming apart out the package. There's not a good seal on it. So
just do better, YECOO. Do better. We've showed you our experiences. We've laid it all out on the table. We've showed you all the facts.
now it's your turn to decide.
Go decide, YouTube.
So as you guys know, we're a fairly new channel, looking for new gear. If you guys have any recommendations for like camera gear, microphones, anything like that, please leave a comment, let us know. We can get some of that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not obvious enough, we're fairly new to content creating. So
Right now we're recording off our phone, so we definitely need to get some new gear.
for sure, new gear. But right now, our main focus is just to get the information out to you guys. And a lot of you guys probably don't know this, but we're out in some piece of shit wasteland
In the Middle East.
and we don't necessarily have access to 2-day shipping. So it's going to be a little struggle for a little while, but you guys will see it. You guys will see it improving for sure. And if you stay tuned, we'll have some solid content.
Oh yeah.
Really? Really, dude? You gonna eat before a fucking video? Come on, bro. You fucking fat ass. Jesus Christ.
Oh,
You cut.